Welcome to our digital tour of the Lucknow Mansion's first floor. Before we go inside, let's take a moment to look at the castle's exterior. This arts and crafts style mansion was designed by J. William Spiel, who is said to have incorporated many architectural design features inspired by the plant's travels abroad, including traditional design concepts from Britain, Norway, Switzerland, and even Japan. Materials used on the building's veneer, like the pink granite, white oak, and terracotta roofing tiles, were rusticated with hand tools to emphasize the handcrafted appearance. One of the mansion's most important design features was that it fit naturally into the landscape that the plants loved so dearly. Despite the global design and rustic elements, this house of over 10,000 square feet was designed to suit a very modern and comfortable American lifestyle. Now let's step inside. Stepping through the front door, we usually get our first glimpse of the castle's circa 1914 decor and an amazing view of Lake Winnipesaukee by looking straight ahead through the main hall. But before we look there, let's focus on the entrance hall. The historic photos we have of the mansion unfortunately don't show us much of this area, but we do know that at least a few pieces of lovely Irving & Casson furniture once filled this space. Irving & Casson was a Boston-based firm that crafted wood mantels and interior finishes before expanding into the production of wooden furniture. The plants furnished their home with many Irving & Casson pieces, including this settee and matching chair, styled after an 18th century English design. To our left, we find Tom's office. Although Tom was retired by the time he and Olive moved into this home, he still would have had plenty of business to conduct in this room, from personal correspondence to overseeing the management of the Lucknow Estate and Bald Peak Colony Club. Tom's office is furnished with a large desk, an A&B Curtis safe hidden in the closet, and, fitting for a sport hunter, a built-in gun rack. On the wall above his desk, you might notice an old photograph. This shows Tom Plant's shoe factory in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, around 1910. This factory was 6 stories high, spanned 6 city blocks, and employed as many as 5,500 people. The factory produced 6 million pairs of women's shoes annually. When Tom sold his company in 1910, he allegedly added $6 million to his existing fortune, some of which he used to buy land here in the Ospey Mountains and build this amazing estate. If you turn right from the entrance hall, you'll find yourself in a short passageway that takes you past the cloakroom, where the plants may have stored some of their sporting equipment. Both Tom and Olive loved spending time outdoors on their estate. They and their guests enjoyed tennis, golf, hiking, swimming, fishing, hunting, boating, and horseback riding. In the winter, Lucknow's inhabitants could stay active by snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, ice skating, or taking a ride down the toboggan run. Continuing down this passage brings you to a guest chamber, the only bedroom on the first floor, that we colloquially call Amy's room. According to oral tradition, this was the room Tom's niece Amy preferred when she stayed at Lucknow. This is a roughly octagonal room in the home's north tower and is awaiting restoration in the coming years. We do not have any historic photos of this space, which means we'll rely on any remaining physical evidence and popular decor preferences of the period to help restore the space to its original appearance. Before we move on, notice this room's unusual feature: a needle shower but no sink or water closet. This house had 7 bathrooms, most of which were on the second floor, but there was a half bath out in the hallway that could be used by a guest staying in this room. Along with the library, the main hall made up the plant's primary living and entertaining space. Yes, there was always a pool table here in the center of the room, although this is not the original. The original was more ornately decorated to match other pieces in the room, but that piece, unfortunately, was removed from the property at an unknown time. The pool table that fills the hall today, however, still has a Tom Plant connection. It was purchased by Tom for the Bald Peak Colony Club, which he established just a few miles down the road in Melvin Village. If you look at the underside of the table, you'll find the handwritten delivery instructions. This piece was kindly donated to us by Bald Peak. The next thing to grab your attention in this room will undoubtedly be the organ. Yes, Lucknow was first constructed to include a pipe organ, manufactured by New York's Aeolian Company. The console is up a small set of stairs, and the working pipes were in a hidden room behind the decorative pipes on the opposite side of the main hall. Tom indicated in a 1917 magazine article that Olive was the musician in the family, but this electric organ could also be set to play itself with rolls, just like a player piano. Legend has it that when the organ was played and the windows were open, the sound could be heard by boaters down on Lake Winnipesaukee. The functional pipes were removed sometime in the 1950s, so the organ doesn't currently play, but we're hopeful we'll be making music on this beautiful instrument again very soon. Thanks to historic photos taken by a gentleman named George Perry sometime in the 1920s, we know that much of the furniture in this room is original. Like the Gothic suite in the entry, these pieces were manufactured by Irving and Casson. The light fixtures in this hall were manufactured by the Edward F. Caldwell Company, as were most of the fixtures in the house. The pieces in this room are made of wrought iron and slide glass, and their handcrafted look fits well into the arts and crafts style of the home's decor. The plant's library is the space they referred to as their living room. On the north side of the room is a cozy space around the fireplace, which is fashioned after a traditional English inglenook, or chimney corner. The inglenook, which was a popular feature in arts and crafts architecture, features custom built-in seating and a window over the fireplace, accomplished by running the chimney flue diagonally to the right instead of straight up. A visitor favorite feature in the library is, of course, the secret room, a small room with a hidden door built into the wood paneling. One of the legends about the secret room is that Tom used it as a private reading nook, and that is how we interpret it at this time. We haven't been able to confirm the actual use of this space. It very well could have just been a storage area, but we certainly enjoy hearing our guests' theories. The library is also the room where we typically show what remains of the plant's original art collection, which is documented in the Perry photographs from the 1920s. Tom was said to have admired Napoleon, and many of the pieces do portray the emperor. The painting you see next to the set of double doors is a reproduction of Zion Valley, South Utah, painted by Thomas Moran. A total of 3 Moran paintings were originally part of the plant's art collection installed in this home. As of the winter of 2020, the library is in the process of being restored. The red wallpaper, which was probably installed in the 1990s, has been removed and will eventually be replaced with a replica of the original silk damask wall covering. Although the room won't be fully restored for the 2020 season, it will look quite a bit different. The Inglenook's Cove ceiling will be restored, the wood paneling conserved, and a fresh coat of paint will go on the walls in preparation for that fabric wall covering. We hope you'll come visit us in person to see the progress that we've made. In the mansion's south tower, we find the dining room, a roughly octagonal room with many doors and windows overlooking Lake Winnipesaukee. Imagine opening the doors on a summer night to let the breeze in and enjoying a meal while the sun sets over the lake. The furniture for this space was also manufactured by Irving and Casson. Notice how the side tables are designed to fit into an octagonal room. Many guests note that this is a surprisingly small room for an estate of this size, but it seems that the plants were only hosting close friends and family at their mountaintop retreat, and this dining room would comfortably seat them and up to 6 guests, the largest number they had guest rooms to accommodate. The dining room was fully restored in recent years, starting with the ceiling. This ceiling is made up of over 50 pieces of cast plaster that radiate out from the center. It was originally painted a simple cream color, but our restoration team had to remove about 7 layers of paint to learn that. After recasting some water-damaged portions of the plaster, the ceiling was repainted cream to replicate its appearance when the plants lived and dined here. Historic photos of this room were invaluable to the restoration process and allowed us to reproduce elements we no longer had any physical evidence for, like the draperies and silk light shades. Now that we've seen all of the family spaces on the first floor, let's move into the servants' wing. Connecting the dining room to the kitchen area, the Butlers Pantry was the setting for any last-minute food preparation. This room was a convenient spot to transfer food from pot to plate and put together salads, desserts, and cocktails just before serving the family and guests in the dining room. This pantry provided storage for fine dishware, glasses, and silver, all under lock and key and most likely accessible to only the most trusted servant. Traditionally, this esteemed staff member was the butler, but it is unclear whether Tom and Olive ever had a servant in this position. Sadly, we don't have any of the plant's original china, though we assume they would have had several china services of differing styles to be used for particular meals. The services found in this room today are appropriate for the era and for the plant's status. In the servants' wing, we we begin to see a lot of the state-of-the-art technologies that helped run this home, systems that were time and labor savers for the staff at Lucknow. Here in the Butlers Pantry, for instance, we find one of the home's refrigerators that featured an electrically powered ammonia and brine cooling system. Within the orange tanks, condensed ammonia chilled the brine solution, which in turn cooled the food storage compartments. The small freezer unit in the upper right compartment used sulfur dioxide as a coolant and was installed sometime after 1918. The motors for both systems are located in the basement. Our next stop is in the servants' hall, a dining and break room for Lucknow's domestic staff. The cabinetry here is original, but the dining table is not. It is likely this room would have featured a long table, as well as a rocking chair for the maids and cooks to enjoy a moment's rest when they could get it. Of course, even on their breaks, the house staff was always on call. If the interphone rang with a request from Tom, Olive, or one of their guests, it would have to be answered. The interphone system, manufactured by the Western Electric Company, is another of Lucknow's modern innovations for an efficiently run home. One last thing to note in this room is the narrow set of stairs in the corner. Known as the servant stairs or back stairs, this staircase was designated for use by the domestic servants, rather than having the house staff use the family's grand staircase in the main hall. These back stairs lead to the servants' quarters on the second floor. Finally, we reach Lucknow's kitchen, where meals for both the plants and their domestic staff would have been prepared. The room features the original coal range, dated 1912 and manufactured by the Cyrus Carpenter Company of Boston. For its time, this was state-of-the-art cooking equipment, featuring 7 burners, 2 ovens, and 2 warmers. Coal ashes could be easily disposed of by the kitchen staff with the twist of a handle, which flipped the coal tray inside, emptying the ashes into a bin in the basement. Of course, no home of this caliber would be complete without an electric dumbwaiter. The one at Lucknow traveled up and down between the first floor and both levels of the basement below. It likely carried laundry as well as food supplies from the upper basement and coal to feed the kitchen range from the lower basement. This was undoubtedly a very helpful, labor-saving device for the home's domestic staff. You may have also noticed the green and white rubber tile floor throughout the servants' wing. This is also original to the house. The tiles were manufactured by the New York Belting and Packing Company and were advertised as noiseless flooring that provided some cushion underfoot for those working in the kitchen. They also would have been easy to clean, an important selling point in the age of the sanitary ideal. This concludes our tour of the Lucknow Mansion's first floor. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll visit us this season to explore these rooms in person. There's so much more to learn about the plants and Castle in the Clouds, both then and now, and our friendly guides can't wait to meet you.